Hi, my name is Alicia Mullings. This is done on 10/10/2019. I am part of the University of New England's Medical Physiology course. So this is my presentation on the regulation of digestion, but mainly focusing on the liver and the pancreas and their roles in digestion and how that works in the body. And so digestion is the chemical and mechanical breakdown of food. So that is the definition of what digestion is and how it occurs in the body. Typically, the digestion occurs throughout the lumen and the different organs. And so through the secretions that are added to the ingested food by accessory glandular organs, this creates chyme. So that is the mixture of those secretions mixed with the foods in the intestines. And so that's what digestion is in the body. Now, again, my focus today is going to be on the liver and the pancreas. And so starting with the liver, you can see here on my left that the liver is comprised of two lobes. So you have the left lobe and the right lobe. Now, there are certain cells that create the liver and make up the majority of the liver, and these cells are called hepatocytes. Now, they do more than just make up the liver. They have a really important role in digestion because they are the cells that make and secrete bile into bile ducts. So the hepatocytes are responsible for making and secreting that bile into bile ducts. And so the liver actually produces quite a bit of bile every single day. And so on average, the liver produces about 800 to 1,000 milliliters of bile each day. And again, that bile is really important in digestion. And so bile actually helps to break down fats and also helps the liver to absorb those fats. And so the bile contains special salts that actually help in the emulsification of large fat deposits. And so those fat droplets are broken down through the bile and through those salts in the bile and are emulsified. That way they are easier to be absorbed. Now, continuing on the liver isn't only responsible or helpful in digestion because of that secretion of bile. It plays a much more important role as well. So yes, the bile is one of its biggest roles in helping with digestion. Another is actually its ability to detoxify the substances that come in through the body. And so many substances do enter the body that are, needed to be filtered, basically. And so, for example, alcohol, drugs, chemicals, and other foreign substances that need to be filtered and detoxified by the liver and safely removed. So they're either safely dispersed into the blood or removed from the body altogether. And so, again, it plays a really big role in the detoxification of different substances to make sure that everything that is entering the body is filtered through and safely removed or dispersed throughout the body. And so on the subject of, kind of how the liver works, not only does the bile help with the bile, it does detoxify the substances that come into the body. Now, the liver bile that does emulsify the fat and actually aids the pancreas in digestion as well, which is the next part of the lecture, is the pancreas. And so the pancreas plays a really crucial role in digestion as well. And so the pancreas is another organ that, aids in breaking down different substances, making it easier for the body to absorb those substances. And so it actually creates what we call pancreatic juices, or enzymes actually that break down sugars, fats, and starches. And so those juices and what it contains and the enzymes and hormones that it contains in the pancreatic juices helps to break down these substances, so again, sugars, fats, and starches, in order to make it easier for the body to digest them. So it also makes, digestion in general easier to occur. And so actually the pancreas makes about 8 ounces of those pancreatic juices each day that are filled with those enzymes aiding in digestion. And so a few really important pieces of information about how that breakdown works. So the pancreatic hormones and enzymes are kind of broken into 2 categories. And so you have the exocrine portion of the pancreas that works with the enzymes. So that is a separate portion. And then you have the endocrine portion of the pancreas, which is the hormone section. So it's pretty rare for this to have both glands, right? To be both an exocrine and endocrine gland and how it operates. And now I'm going to break those down for you each as well. So first I'm going to start off here with the enzymes, again, which is the exocrine portion of the pancreas. Now for the enzymes, you have lipase, amylase, trypsin, and protease. And so these are all very important pieces. And then for the hormones in the endocrine portion, you have insulin, glucagon, somatostatin, and gastrin. So again, starting off here with the enzymes, we're going to start with lipase. So lipase has a really important job because it does help. It's an enzyme that really works to break down fats and helps with fat absorption. And so it also kind of goes hand in hand with the bile that the liver produces because they both work to really break down those fats and help with fat absorption and make that easier for the body to digest. So again, both play a pretty vital role there and work together to help make sure that those fats are broken down and digestible. Next is amylase, and this is an enzyme that really breaks down starches or carbohydrates and breaks them down into sugars. Then after they become sugars, the body is able to digest those easier and use that as energy for the body. So amylase really is more the breakdown of starches and carbohydrates into sugars that help create energy throughout the body and be easier to digest. Now, the third enzyme here is trypsin. And so this actually is an enzyme that helps break down proteins and really helps, again, because proteins are fairly large substances. And so breaking those down makes it easier for the body to digest those and helps push it forward through the rest of the digestion process. And so it is a really great player there in moving the digestion process forward. Now, lastly, for enzymes, we have protease. So this enzyme actually breaks down proteins as well. So it does similar to what trypsin does. And so the enzyme breaks down proteins, makes them smaller and easier to digest, but it also has a really important role in protecting the body from bacteria and yeast, other substances like that. So any germs or bacteria really helps to protect it and keep germs out of that system and just make sure that those aren't actually going through the entire body through the digestive system. So a really important enzyme there in protease. And so again, that was it for the exocrine portion. And now we're going to move into the endocrine portion of the pancreas. And so these are the hormones. And so one hormone, insulin, I'm sure most people are very familiar with. And if there isn't proper use of insulin and it's not being used well or it's not being filtered well, it really can become dangerous for the body and create different disorders. And so insulin is made in beta cells of the pancreas, and it helps your body to absorb glucose and actually use it for energy. And so it is a really important player in glucose. And so the next one here is glucagon. And so this also regulates glucose. However, it kind of works in the opposite of insulin. And so again, insulin really helps to make sure that the body is absorbing glucose and using it for energy, whereas glucagon also it does regulate glucose, but it actually stimulates cells to release glucose. So again, a little bit opposite of a player there. And so the next hormone that we're going to talk about is the somatostatin. And so this is actually a hormone that is secreted to maintain balance of glucose. So you can see a lot of hormones here do play a big role in the, regulation of glucose in the body, but this one specifically helps to maintain the balance of glucose in blood when other pancreatic hormones get too high. So if glucagon or insulin get too high, this one has actually helped to maintain balance so there isn't too much or too little of glucose in the system. And then the last one here is gastrin. So gastrin also is incredibly important. It helps with digestion by stimulating cells in the stomach to produce acid. And that acid, again, helps with different breakdowns of substances to ensure digestion is much easier and quicker and everything is easily absorbed. And so again, gastrin helps with digestion through stimulating stomach cells to produce that acid. And so in conclusion here, liver and the pancreas are very important in digestion. Yes, there are many other organs, but these are considered to be very important accessory organs in digestion. And so both the pancreas and the liver both the pancreas and liver work really well together because they are the ones that secrete and produce the bile, hormones, and enzymes that aid the body in the digestive processes. So this includes the breakdown and absorption of different substances such as glucose, which we talked about quite a bit, proteins, carbohydrates, fats. All of those are really important in the breakdown of those substances because it does make it easier to digest and move throughout the body and the digestive system. And, if the pancreas and liver did not function properly, if they didn't produce these hormones, the bile, the enzymes, then they wouldn't be able to have a proper digestive system because the breakdown of those substances, again, the glucose, proteins, carbohydrates, sugars, fats, all those would be much harder to digest and absorb and secrete throughout the body. And so we really want to make sure that these things are operating well because if not, different conditions and diseases could develop, one of which that is more considered to be, an insulin issue, if not, operating well, which is diabetes. And so again, if the pancreas and liver are not functioning properly, neither is the digestive system. Again, thank you so much for listening to my presentation on liver and pancreas and the regulation of digestion.